Assalamualaikum and warm regards to dear lecturers and friends. Our group consists of Ashikin, Ain, Faizul and me Intan was given a task to present a video to public regarding causation of disease. For this purpose, we have prepared an education video targeted for children aged 6 to 12 years old, explaining about causation of COVID-19 using epidemiological concepts and theories such as epidemiological triad, Koch's postulates and chain of infection, and a little bit about other aspects of preventive measures. So now, sit back and enjoy the video.
Hello friendlies, we are back with another video. It's so good to see you again. I know these past few months have been quite scary for all of us, but I hope with some fun learning, it can bring some cheer to our day. So I bet you friendlies are wondering, what will we learn today? How about we talk about something I'm sure all of us have heard about. Let's talk about COVID-19 and how the coronavirus can make people sick. Germs are tiny dots that are so small that we can't see them with our eyes. So some germs can make people sick. A virus is a type of germ, and COVID-19 is caused by a virus called the novel coronavirus. It is called novel because it's a new kind of virus. Most people get a little bit sick with cough and fever, but then they get better. But some get really sick that they have to go to the hospital. When people get sick because of germs, scientists and doctors call them infectious diseases. And some germs can even spread from one person to another. Before we start learning, why don't we hear from our friendlies what they know about COVID-19?
Virus yang jahat. Virus that spread around the world. COVID-19 adalah sejenis virus yang dikesan pada tahun 2019 di Wuhan, China.
Wuhan, China.
Datang dari China. Datang dari bumi depan tu jauh. Jauh sangat paling.
Bats from a animal meat market.
Okay.
Sebab dia tak jaga kebersihan. Because we touch someone else. And hug or shake hands with them. Ada bats. Bats tu sana. Ada penyakit. Ada penyakit. Ada Cina makan. Dia dapat.
Well, I think it's like horrible in a bad way.
Okay.
Coronavirus bahaya. Sebab bagi orang sakit. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Because I like to stay at home. And no, because I want to go outside. Kita kena jaga kebersihan diri.
Buat macam mana?
Basuh tangan sebelum makan. Kalau nak keluar kena pakai mask. I had to keep my distance from my friends. Wear mask to school.
I'm broken and it's beautiful. I'm broken and it's beautiful. I'm broken and it's beautiful.
Wow, that was amazing. Our friendlies are such smart, curious learners. I'm so excited to move on to our learning point. So let's learn about why do germs make people sick? And why do some people get sick and others don't? Now picture a triangle. On one corner, you have the environment, which is everything around us. The water, the air, the soil, buildings, houses, other people, and even objects. And then the next corner of the triangle are agents. These are not secret spies, but in fact, The agent in this triangle are the germs, and germs can either be viruses, bacteria, or parasites. And lastly are us, the humans. Let's think about it. There are thousands and even millions of germs all around us, even in our bodies. But why are we not constantly sick? Well, friendlies, this is because there is a balance between the three in the triangle we just saw. So it makes it harder for the germs to make us sick. For instance, the environment may be clean, the air, the water, or the things that we touch are clean, or the places that we live in are too hot or too cold for the germs. And it can also be because our bodies are strong enough to fight off the germ. However, when there is an imbalance, chances are people can get sick. Picture a seesaw. You know when one end is heavier than the other, the seesaw will tilt, right? So it's the same thing. If one end is heavier, means it's more than the other, in the triangle, it will tilt, making it possible for people to get sick. Then how does this apply to COVID-19? Well, some places have more people who are sick with the coronavirus, and when these sick people are in contact with people who do not have the virus, they can make other people sick, and so the germs spread. Or some people may have weaker immune system. Little armies within our body that help us fight germs can't fight the coronavirus, especially because our bodies do not know how to fight it, since this is a new kind of virus. Some families may ask, how do scientists and doctors know that COVID-19 was caused by the coronavirus? We can't see them. Maybe it's the same flu that you get shots for every year. Well, to explain that, I've invited my good friend, Dr. Faizul.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Thanks for the good question. My name is Dr. Faizul and today I'm going to share with you, dear friend lies, about coronavirus. Well, initially nobody thought that the culprit would be a very new virus. But then, on December 2019, suddenly there were many people having lung infections in Wuhan, China, and the number kept increasing. Initially, they did not know what was causing those infections. So they went and investigated it. To their surprise, it was a new type of virus. Initially, it was called as Wuhan virus. Then, all brilliant scientists made effort and tried figuring this virus out. They were able to identify the virus genome sequence, which basically is a map that tells you on how you want to identify and distinguish each virus from one another. Then, they were able to produce screening and diagnostic tools, which mean now they can test anybody to know if they got the virus or not. Later, the virus was named as SARS-CoV-2 and the disease as COVID-19. Around mid-January 2020, the first COVID-19 cases outside China was reported in Thailand, and the disease then spread all around the world. Now we have almost 13 million reported confirmed COVID-19 cases throughout the whole world. So when a new virus is found and we want to judge as whether it is the cause of a new disease or not, we may discuss it in this manner. It may sound a bit complicated, but don't worry, we will learn it together today. Robert Koch, a very well-known German doctor, stated, in order to tell whether a germ actually caused a disease, we have to ensure that 4 criteria are met. The first one, the germ, or what we call as a pathogen, must be present in every person that has the new disease that we are investigating. Secondly, the germ or pathogen must be isolated from the host with the disease and grown in pure culture. It means, let's say when Adam is infected, we can take out the germ from the Adam's body and grow it outside in the laboratory. We call this growth as pure culture. Thirdly, the specific disease must be reproduced when a pure culture of the pathogen is inoculated into a healthy, susceptible host. It means that once we have grown the new germ outside of human body, when we take this germ and put it into another healthy person, let's say into Daniel, he would get the same new disease. Lastly, the germ or pathogen must be recoverable from the experimentally infected host, which means when Daniel got sick because of the germ that we put into him, we can take samples from Daniel and able to see the same germ that infected Adam in the first place to be grown again in laboratory. In other words, the newly found SARS-CoV-2 virus must be present in every COVID-19 cases, and the SARS-CoV-2 virus must be isolated from infected COVID-19 patients. Theoretically, if we have 13 millions of COVID-19 cases, the SARS-CoV-2 virus must present in all cases and should be able to be isolated from them. However, Koch postulates have their limitation and setbacks because most of the time it is difficult to fulfill all 4 criteria. Why? Because you don't want to put a harmful virus into anybody, right? Subjecting a healthy susceptible host to harm by inoculating a virus that potentially can cause harm has an ethical issue and not very easy to do. Also, you may not successfully isolate the virus from all the infected people in every attempt, as some diseases have different window period to sample the pathogen. This means you may not get the virus because it had not multiplied enough that you can catch them in a sample. Besides, not all people infected by a bacteria may develop disease. Sometimes, a healthy people may not show symptoms despite having the virus inside their body. We call this as subclinical infection. Therefore, third criterion is sometimes not met. However, despite the limitation, Koch postulates are still very useful in judging as whether there is a cause and effect relationship between a germ or a pathogen and a clinical disease. There are other theories for disease causation such as Bradford's Hill criteria. Due to the time limitation, we are unable to cover it in this video, but hopefully we can meet in the next video for this topic.
Thank you, Dr. Faizul. Now, in my last stories, I asked friendlies to send in your questions about COVID-19. To answer these questions, I've invited not only Dr. Faizul, but also 2 of my other friends, a microbiologist, these are doctors that study germs, and also a vet. Welcome, Dr. Intan and Dr. Ain.
The first question is from Sarah. She's from Malacca. So her question is, are animals the cause for COVID-19? Mosquitoes are animals too. Can we get COVID-19 if we get bitten, like when I got dengue?
Hello friendlies! Well, to answer your question, COVID-19 is not actually caused by animals, but it is caused by a virus called SARS-CoV-2. But it originated from the bats, got mutated, or changed inside the bats, and these changes enable them to infect humans in the initial COVID-19 pandemic. The virus cannot be transmitted from human to human through mosquitoes like how dengue virus spreads. They spread mainly through respiratory droplets.
Chris from KL had a similar question. How can humans get sick from a virus that comes from animals? I heard my mom said it came from bats.
Thank you, Ashikin, for inviting me to join your discussion today. And thank you, Chris, for your good and very important question. Can humans get sick from a virus that comes from animal? The answer is yes. First, we need to understand the basic concept about what is virus and how it survives. Virus is a tiny living organism, and the one who caused the COVID-19 pandemic is called SARS-CoV. This virus needs to survive by invading other living things that we call as a host. It can be animal or human. When the viruses come in contact with the host, they will get into the host and reproduce by hijacking the host defense system. The viruses have the ability to make themselves being unrecognized by the host defense system, and during this time, they will reproduce as much as possible. And once they've been detected by the defense system, they will find other ways to escape, which is to find another new host. And how can they escape from the old host? Basically, the body fluids and respiratory droplets of the infected host contain a lot of these viruses. And if another human or animal exposed to this virus, there is high chance the viruses will get into their body. So far, the scientists have found proof that SARS-CoV is actually come from bats. And it's true, Chris, that the viruses is from bat, and the genetic materials that have been found in bat infected with SARS-CoV have some similarity with genetic material from the infected human. So how viruses that originate from bat can get into human? Human have come in contact with this infected bat. Either they eat the bats or they touch the bats. Bat is very susceptible host for a lot of viruses, including SARS-CoV, because they have poor immune response, and the virus can live in their body much longer. Besides, the nature of bats who live in aggregated and very close to each other make the viruses easily and widely spread among them.
Wow, our next curious friendly sent in quite a question. Jeremy from KL asked, my teacher told us that COVID-19 came from a wet market in China. Was it because they ate sick animals? But why do some people who eat wild animals not get sick from COVID?
Thank you, Jeremy, for your good question just now. I already explained how the virus get into the host, but not all hosts are suitable for the virus. The virus from the bat can get into human because there is some genetic similarity between human and bat. But the genetic materials between human and other wildlife are reported to have high dissimilarity, which means our DNA is not matched with other wildlife, but our DNA have a match with bat. That's why the virus from bat can easily adapt in human body, and people who ate other infected wildlife might not get sick because the virus from the other wildlife is failed to make them sick since they cannot invade human because of their DNA not matched with us.
Next, Balkis asked, Malaysia is a hot country, not like China or America or Italy. Can the hot weather here stop COVID-19?
Initially, people think that the virus is not heat resistant and will be killed in temperature of 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. However, exposing yourself to the sun or to temperatures higher than 25 degrees Celsius does not actually prevent the spread of the virus. There is no evidence that sunlight kills the virus. From the evidence so far, the virus can be transmitted in all areas, including areas with hot and humid weather. As of 11 July 2020, there were more than 12.5 million COVID-19 confirmed cases reported from almost all countries in the world. Therefore, regardless of climate, adopting proper protective measures wherever you live in or travel to are really important.
Our last question is from Susie. She's from Terengganu. If the coronavirus is around us in the environment, then can me and my brother get it from our toys?
The virus is mainly transmitted through contact with respiratory droplets. People can catch COVID-19 from other people infected with this virus. When the infected person cough, sneeze, or exhale, small respiratory droplets will be released from his nose or mouth. These tiny droplets land on objects and surfaces around the infected person. When other people touch this contaminated object or surfaces, then touching their eyes, nose, or mouth, they may get infected. So the situation is similar to your question. In your case, your toys may get contaminated with the virus. You may not get infected by just playing with the contaminated toys, but however, once you start touching your eyes, nose, or mouth with those contaminated hands of yours, you may get infected. The most important thing to know about coronavirus on surfaces is that they can be easily cleaned or killed by this infected. So it is very important to always clean your hand with alcohol-based hand rub or wash them with soap and water, and then avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose when playing or after playing.
And that's all for today's video, friendlies. Don't forget to press the like button, and if you'd like to follow us, click the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell if you'd like to get notifications every time that we post. Thank you. Until then, see you.